back, everyone. This is your first time here. My name is Blair Armstrong of Team Armstrong Coldwell Banker, located here in beautiful Indian Wells, California. In just a short amount of time, we're going to join a really good friend of mine, Brent Wright, of Brent Wright Incorporated. He's also the co-host of the show. Today is episode number 47. I cannot believe that we are here. I know I say that every week, but every week is just another gift from God that we have made it this far. So that being said, today, episode number 47, and we're going to get right into it right off the bat. We're going to be talking about forgiveness, and the lack of forgiveness can actually steal your victory. And we're going to really peel back the onionness and what we mean by that. I mean, holding grudges is basically like drinking poison and expecting someone else to get sick. So strap in today, enjoy this episode. And as always, you know, if there's something in here that sticks out, or if you're having troubles getting over a hurdle, reach out to us. But if this episode touches you and you think it's going to touch somebody else, feel free to share the show. We don't have any paid advertisers. We don't have any sponsors. We're super organic. We'll grow slowly if we have to, but we love to get our message out. And as you'll see in this episode coming up, we're actually going to talk about how different guests are now helping each other out. So anyway, with that being said, strap in. Episode number 47, the lack of forgiveness will steal your victory. Now let's join up with my good friend, Brent Wright. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. As mentioned in the introduction, welcome back. We are Old Guys Still Rock. I am Blair Armstrong, located in beautiful Indian Wells, California. However, today it may not be so beautiful, and I'll explain here in a little bit. And then on my right or left, wherever it comes out on these videos, sooner or later we'll get this right. But I have a good friend for almost 30 years and co-host of this show, Brent Wright of Brent Wright Incorporated. And he is located most likely right now, potentially, I see a little sunshine coming through his back window, beautiful Eugene, Oregon. He's not in Indian Wells.
It is rainy today. We're supposed to get a 1/4 inch of rain before 1 o'clock.
Some people might find that beautiful, but if you live in it for 9 months, it's no longer beautiful. And I'm speaking from past experiences for that. So
it does make everything green, so that's good.
It does. It's good. It's good for it's great for summertime, which starts around July and then runs through about the end of October, but you're good to go there. But again, if this is your first time here, welcome. If this is a returning guys, welcome back. We want to thank all those people that have come back and watched this multiple times. Thank you for your continued support. Thank you for sharing the show, leaving us your comments. I've got one we're going to pull up here in a little bit to read of how this community is affecting not only the guests that we have, but the people surrounding it. So before we jump into that, man, how are you?
I'm good. You like my new duds?
I like this, man.
I had to fit in.
We are podcast junkies right now. We're
number 47.
Growing. Number 47.
Yeah.
We're almost at the silver anniversary of our podcast. So, but things are good with you?
Yeah. Things are rocking and rolling. I've got some monumental things coming up. My wife's birthday is tomorrow. 36. Happy birthday, my beautiful bride.
That's awesome.
My daughter's birthday is next week, and she will be 10. Can you believe that? Crazy.
That's fast, brother.
I know.
That means I've been 14 years. Okay. Yeah, that's fast. I know. Well, and again, I'm not trying to trumpet anybody. I just always talk about all of a sudden our grandkids are 15, 10, and I have a 33-year-old son. I'm like, wow.
You have like 90 grandkids.
I have not. Yeah.
From one son.
Some people kind of put me into a box of what faith I have, but it's not the right box. So anyways, so what's going on new with your worlds? How's the wellness center?
The wellness center is cramming and jamming.
Okay.
Yesterday, she started out the day with one appointment scheduled, and not long after opening, she was completely full. And we did like 4 or 5 tours yesterday. So super cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, God is opening up a lot of windows for us, a lot of doors. So
That's really
feeling very
cool.
blessed. Yeah.
That's really cool. Again, if this is your first time here, obviously I'm Blair Armstrong with Team Armstrong Coldwell Banker, which you should see right behind me. We are a global luxury realtor inside the Coachella Valley. We're also brand ambassadors for Coldwell Banker's global luxury line, which is your higher end real estate throughout the Coachella Valley and really worldwide. So before we jump into this, I will say this too. I know there's a lot of things because I get questions every day, 3 or 4 times a day. How you doing? How's the real estate world? How is this judgment affecting you? The judgment is not in effect yet. There's still a lot of processes every day that we go through this.
What's the judgment, buddy? Tell us about the judgment.
The National Association of Realtors, there was a lawsuit that sellers no longer have to pay commissions to buyers, agents. And over the last couple of weeks, it has been mass chaos. What are we going to do? The sky's falling. What are we going to do next? And stuff like this. There is a verdict right now, but there's an appeal process going on to it, and there's already adjustments being made to this. So the situation is extremely fluid. If you really want the real information, if you have a person in the business, talk to them. If you don't have a person in the business and you really want to know what's going on, either on the seller side or the buyer side, reach out to us. Are there changes? Yes. Are there ways that we can remedy the situation? Yes, but we could have a laundry list of stuff, and realistically, you should probably do a couple episodes specifically of how this judgment is basically, for my feeling, this is my take and this is some other people's take. There is some control that is trying to happen from the powers to be. This is not a silver hat thing, but trying to eliminate an industry that is absolutely really necessary. So I'm not going to go deep into that now because that's not really what we are, but we are working forward to this. The buyer's agent is always going to be needed, and a seller's agent is always going to be needed. But again, if you're looking for information, go to the source. Do not go through social media. Do not go through the news. There's just a lot of misinformation that's floating around out there that we can better explain of what's happening and how we're going to move forward. And realistically, we've been on the buyer's side, and I'm not being like, oh, well, look at us. We are having a very good start of the year, and most of our transactions this year have been buyers, and they have relied on us because there's information that a buyer's agent can give a buyer that normally would not be seen if they just went straight to the seller.
So what you're really saying is pick your people, trust your people, pay your people.
Yeah. It's
like anything. You get what you give.
If you're going to go to a body shop, right, which you have, are you going to all of a sudden now like, we don't really need a body shop anymore. We're just going to go ahead and fix a dent ourselves, and not knowing maybe there's frame issues or there's some sort of other issue that they can't see.
We get that all the time. You're
going to give your money to a financial advisor. Do you want to just say, listen, I'm just going to throw my money in the stock market. I think I know enough to go ahead and do it. Now, some of those people do, but these guys are trained.
I'm YouTube certified.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Or I'm going to listen to Mad Money on CNBC, and I'm going to go with what they say because their track record is amazing.
Yeah.
Which is not. So the bottom line is it's all about relationships. We talk about this in our stuff to it. I'm not naysaying stuff like this, but there are things trying to happen to try to eliminate, just like they're trying to do with other things like this. It's not going to happen. I'm confident in that. It's going to thin the herd a little bit because there's a lot of people spending a lot of time worrying about something that hasn't even come into existence yet. So let's try to figure stuff out. And that's why we have these conversations on this type of podcast to try to figure things out to help not only me get better, you get better, but us get better as a community and really take back what we have been stripped away from. So that being said, that's a little bit deep, but today, man, this stuff has been burning in my mind. And obviously I've been very transparent over the last couple of weeks that I have sought help to help me through some stuff. to really talk it out. Not only we do it on this episode, but been seeing a counselor over the last couple of weeks. It's been awesome. It's been giving me a lot of clarity. It's helped me not only in my marriage, but it's also helping me in my outside relationships. It's also helping me in my confidence and some other issues that I have to it. So I'm not broken. I just need some direction. But I actually am. Yeah, I'm broken. I need to put the pieces back together and have stuff on there. But the main thing that we have been talking about today, and I'm really portraying it not only to just relationships, but also to business and life stuff like this, is forgiveness is what our conversation has been talking about.
Yeah.
And that was not instilled in me when I was younger. And that's what we're searching for right now, is that if someone takes advantage of you or hurts you or puts you in a bad position, you're like, okay, I'm not going to forgive you. I'm just going to run over you and watch out.
Two things on that.
Yeah.
This week, I posted, after doing some big soul searching, about somebody who wronged me. In fact, a couple of people and an organization and a whole, not going to go into it, but feeling pretty wronged, and I had to do a little bit of self-reflection. And I came up with, after some studying, that reprisal is Satan's bait.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? So the first thing that you want to do after somebody wrongs you is what?
Crush them.
Wrong them.
Yeah.
10x, right?
Right.
10x.
Yeah. For
like you
sure.
said, crush them. So, the first thing that you need to do is reconcile that with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really them that I'm upset with, or is it really me that I'm upset with because I allowed it, or I didn't see it, or I didn't see it coming, right? They say a truck driver drives 3 miles ahead and 2 miles behind. If we had the ability to do that in life, could you imagine how easy life would be?
Yeah.
And some of us can do a little bit of that. Like, in the insurance industry, they call it an actuarial, right? An actuary, somebody that can look at all the numbers, look at all the stuff, figure out. I mean, insurance companies, you used to work for one. They can tell you like within 6 months of when you're going to die based upon all the information that's out there, right?
Right. Right.
So I didn't see this coming. I kind of saw it coming a little bit. I had an inkling that things that, as they say on Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, because we are old guys that still rock, strange things are afoot at the Circle K, right?
Yes.
I could tell something was up, but I just couldn't figure it out. And then when it came to fruition, it was like, okay, now I have some ammunition. Do I load this and fire away? Or do I look at myself internally and say, what should I do? Secondly, what would Jesus do? Because that's what we talk about on this show is, our faith. And so, but I can tell you that truthfully for myself, I went in there, pushed the doors wide open, pushed Jesus out of the way, and I was going to go wreck the wrecking ball.
Yeah.
that was my first inkling, my first thought. I didn't, but that was my first thought. And then what you're talking about, forgiveness, is the next phase of that is after I reconcile it with myself that I'm not going to go wrecking ball. Now I actually have to reconcile it with the universe, with God, and with this person, and say, I forgive you. Not for you, but I forgive you for me. Because we talked about this with my staff this morning in our release meeting. Carrying around the weight of not forgiving somebody is like carrying around a 90-pound backpack on your back for however long that takes.
Right.
And I use the example of my real dad. Carrying around a weight for over 50 years of things that I wasn't happy and I hadn't reconciled.
Right.
And I set him down right in my customer waiting area, and I looked him right in the eye, and I said, I forgive you. Not for you, but for me. And from here on out, here are the rules, here are the parameters. And if you're in agreement with that, we can move forward.
Yeah.
And it was like I just took that backpack and threw it and don't have to carry it around anymore.
Yeah. See, I think what you say is important because talking of baggage, I think that's a good visual or metaphor, whatever you want to put there. I would more visual for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, to go with that, we talked about this yesterday in a session, not you and me, but people that I go talk to.
Your other session.
My other therapist. We talked about this, but not forgiving somebody is like is drinking the poison and expecting harm on the other person. It's just not going to happen. But what I love what you said is because the after part of that is what a lot of people is like, God, if I forgive them, it's do I have to hang out with them? Do I have to have a relationship with them? How does that relationship's on your terms,
Yeah.
Another part of this, it was another example to this. This is just more for, again, is to share this because everyone goes through this. Oh my God, just like they wronged me. I'm not going to forgive them. And the toxicity that creates from that. And another example I thought was really good. And you and I can relate on this because we talk about finances a lot, but it's like giving someone coming to you and say, listen, hey, Brent, can I borrow $100 from you? And you say, absolutely. And I borrow the $100 for you. And then you come back to me a couple of weeks later, like, hey, brother, I need that $100 back. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to pay you back. And you're like, okay, whatever. And then I come back to you and say, dude, I'm in a pickle. I need to borrow $100 from you. And I said, I forgave your debt, but my trust is no longer with you.
Yeah.
So I can't borrow. I can't, that ship has sailed basically. So there are consequences. There are, I guess I'm trying to come up with the word that you said, parameters of which you basically, what you gave your dad, whoever you're going to forgive, there's parameters that, okay, if we're going to have a relationship, this is how it's going to work.
Yeah.
Because the trust or forgiveness, whatever has been broken in that way. And again, if someone wronged you or you forgive them, but if you want to continue a relationship with them, do what Brent did. I think that's genius, is set the parameters up there, set your borders up. Like, hey, we can continue to have this relationship, but this is how it's going to play out. Because now you're protecting yourself because someone may have hurt your trust. Now, sometimes you could take down those borders and go back working like nothing ever happened. But those are different things to consider. But I think the biggest part of this, as of just this last couple of minutes, is that we have forgotten to, and all of us are still go through this stuff. We have forgotten to give grace to people that wrong us. However, we expect grace when we hurt somebody else. And 99% of the time what I'm finding out is the people that have hurt us or wronged us don't know that they did it.
Right. So on one of my personal core values up on the wall up here, it says, have patience for the less informed.
Yeah.
Right. Because like you said, they may not realize.
Yeah.
And so maybe having a heart to heart with them and saying, look, what you did really hurt me. And the first thing I wanted to do was, go bomb crazy on you and drop all the bombs out of the bomb doors. And, but I didn't. And so I'm sitting here with you and I want to chat this through and see how we can work this out. But just know how I felt and what I was capable or able or wanted to do.
Right.
So the warrior in the garden instead of the gardener in the war, right?
Right.
So,
too, we had I think I shared this a couple of weeks ago. Maybe we didn't get it onto our full podcast or not, but we had a situation with a colleague of mine. We're very, very close. And there was some lines that were crossed, not on purpose, but lines were crossed. And how it was received by me, I went to old Blair and still working on Blair of what the truck are you doing? But we talked it out. I was still super upset. The person that I felt crossed the line had apologized up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, and still do it. But then I got to the point of I forgave her and I let this person know that it's going to be fine. And then Chrissy asked me the day, like, you know, how you doing? I'm like, listen, it happened. I can't spend my time being upset by it because it wasn't really controlled by this person anyway. But if I'm going to try to make myself or help myself get better and go and having these discussions, what we talk live and being super transparent on this podcast, going to therapy and all these different things, if I'm going to try to pursue perfection and settle on excellence, I have to abide by the things that I am preaching to everybody else. And I'm not really preaching to it, but so bottom line is that ship has sailed. We knew what happened. It resonates in both of our minds. I talked to the person that we had a misunderstanding with at the end of the day. The point I'm getting to is now this has evolved over the last couple of weeks. What I thought was going to happen was not even close to happening. And I could have really, and this is like realistically the last 48 hours. Honest to God, this came to fruition in the last 48 hours. I could have destroyed a really good friendship, old Blair, if I would have went with my gut and said, I am going to destroy you. Somehow, some way, I'm going to destroy you. And what I thought was going to happen and how the waters were going to get muddied, the water is very clear and not even close to what happened.
Yeah. So we talked about it 2 or 3 episodes ago about negativity.
Yeah.
And allowing negativity in. And 10 minutes of negativity, it takes you 5 to 6 hours to reconcile. Yeah. And so it's not to say that forgiveness is going to solve all the problems.
Correct.
It just validates that you had a negative thought and that you needed to reconcile it with yourself first. And then secondly, reconcile it with the person would be the most appropriate way to do it. And then third is to, again, set those boundaries, set those parameters that are comfortable for you and them, right? And so I like what you said there about that if you'd have went with your gut. So first off, trust your gut, but trust it in a way that it makes you ask questions. Was this your intent? Because this is the way I took it. If not, cool. If so, not so cool. Let's work through that. But asking the questions, what was your intent? Because again, like I said, we have to have patience for the less informed. They may not know that you feel this way about it. Their intent may have been something different than what you took.
You know, too, is going along with that too, is that is that person or thing that's causing you anguish that you cannot forgive, or it's hard for you to forgive. Is there a track record there, going back to your actuaries of what you said to her? Is there a track record where this constantly happened? No.
Is this a one-off?
Is a one-off. This person I'm talking about, it was a one-off. I'm just glad, and if whoever's watching this, if you're not a good communicator, like where I've come from, I'm horrible at learning, and I'm just learning this process again over the last couple of years, last couple of months, weeks, whatever. I am not a good communicator. I internalize, silo, and you're supposed to understand that what I'm feeling doesn't work. So if you're struggling with that right now, as I said, obviously you can reach out to it. We can talk it out. We're great sounding boards. We have enough experiences. When I say we, Brent and I, we have enough experiences with that we can maybe just help you talk to it. But I think what Brent said too, just a couple of seconds ago, and you might want to rewind that, is sit and talk it through with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And go back to it. I wrote this down because I just thought it was so good. Look 3 miles ahead. Basically, look into the future. Is this going to change your life? How is it really, at the end of the day, is it going to affect you?
Yeah.
And 2 miles behind you, we're going back to use this part of this. What's the track record?
Mm-hmm.
Is this person, is there mass destruction with this person or thing that you see time and time again?
Is it
No.
worth it?
Is
Is the
it
next
worth
thing.
it?
Yeah.
Right? It may be, even though that you forgive this person or thing, whatever it may be, relationship, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
business, maybe that chapter's ended.
Yeah.
You know, it could be hard, but
there are many things in life that are quotes of acting childlike, being like a child, being, all those things. So this just kind of came to me as we're talking through this. Have you ever witnessed a 2 or 3 year olds, typically more 3 to 4 year olds, when they're playing together and something goes awry? One of them takes the other one's toy, again, doesn't realize, just thinks that they're all playing, right? And then one of them will push the other one down. The one that gets pushed down looks super surprised, like, what the heck just happened? The one that pushed them down looks at them like, oh, that's weird. Why are you down? Not realizing that they're the ones who pushed them down, and then seems super surprised that the person's sitting down or laying down or whatever they are after they got pushed down, and then goes and tries to help them and pick them up. And then looks around like somebody else pushed that person down, and I'm now trying to help pick them up.
yeah,
Not realizing they were the ones that pushed that person down.
exactly.
Any of this resonating?
Yeah,
Because it is for me. I've done it.
yeah. I mean, all the time, though, right?
Right.
Not all the time, but sometimes there's just different things too. And then, we've talked about triggers in the past, so maybe this episode becomes a trigger for you that it resonates somewhere, holds on to, and we hope that you watch this episode multiple times or share it, whatever. But maybe it becomes a trigger, or maybe you create a trigger that when something happens to it, that snap, or talking through it,
Yeah.
or someone wronged me. This is a trigger for me to sit down, take a
sit
breath,
in it, like we talked last time.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Great conversation from Gigi last week, and just kind of just sitting in it. Neva may be just yucky and you don't want to be there and you try to run from it. Just sit in it and let it marinate over you, and then just play out different scenarios. Where is this going to take me? Is it going to be? Is this really going to affect my life? Which we've said just a little bit ago, in the future. What's a ripple effect on everybody else if I hold on to this? So I think, that's the big thing that I'm going to put a different scenario, which is, I don't know if we really created this or not. There is a lot of, we've talked about this for sure, but there's a lot of pick your side, pick your tribe, do all these different things, but you stay with here and do this stuff. These people are wrong. These people are right. This country is wrong. This country is right. There are, again, my beliefs. You guys can have different beliefs. I think that we are severely being pitted against each other. So there's also mass chaos. So other things can happen that we don't see. It's just my belief. But I think that society is pitting each other against each other. I don't know if that came out the right way, but so if you believe in this type of faith, then you're wrong. If you believe in this type of faith, you're right. If you believe in this type of politics, you're wrong. If you believe in this type of politics, you're right. If you believe that listen, there's a lot of different things in there, but the majority of the people that are putting this stuff out there are like this big, and we're thinking it's this big.
Well, the thing is, we gave you tools,
right,
and thoughts and triggers to be able to validate or negate those situations. So it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's happened since the dawn of time. It's going to happen until we're gone and long after we're gone. But what we've given you in this episode are some tools to see it, some tools to work through it, some tools for forgiveness, and to eliminate and alleviate that weight that's on your shoulders for carrying that burden.
And actually, the only, as you said, and maybe some different words, is the only burden we're really carrying is our burden.
Yeah.
Because
it's our stack of stuff.
it's our luggage.
Yeah.
There's just so many different things in there, but I think that's a big thing that we really need right now, just all around. This will resonate a little bit, but this happens to me daily, especially out here right now. We have a ton of people not normally live in our valley with festivals and stuff like this. And I probably lose my mind once a day about driving these people. And I'm like, oh, God, I'm going to cut them off. I'm not going to let them in this lane. What is that causing? Because they don't know what they did, or maybe they're in a hurry. Yeah. Maybe they're having a bad day, whatever it may be. And I know that everyone's heard that scenario, but you don't know what's happening in the car in front of you, or the person in the grocery line that's in a bad mood, or someone like that doing. I heard this the other day. If you're walking past somebody, you don't need to engage with them. If you see that they're having a bad day, or you're just walking past them, maybe say a little prayer. Maybe they're having a great day. God.
Yeah.
Whatever's going on in their life right now, because everybody has something going on in their life right now. Everybody. But God, whatever's going on in their life, I hope you can alleviate some of that burden from them. And just something simple like that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, we talked about it in episode 8 or 9.
Is it that penny? The penny?
Well, the penny, that's a good one. Yeah.
That's a penny, right?
Yeah, that was in 11 or 12, something like that. But ultimately, I think we have to understand that it is people renting space in your mind for free, right? Would you let them stay in your house for a month for free, or 50 years? Right?
Yep.
Cognitively, I let some things with my real dad. I say real dad. So just so you guys know, I have a stepdad and a real dad. Consider my stepdad the guy that raised me. My real dad was the guy who was never around. And so just for clarification, it's my words. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean that my stepdad wasn't my real dad. He was my real dad too. But again, just to clarify, but I believe that about 4 or 5, you're completely cognitive of what's going on around you. And so if I did that math for 46 years, I let somebody rent space in my head for free. Would you let them rent your house for free for 46 years? No. So why would you let them rent a space in your head for 46 years? Took me that long.
Yeah. Glad you got it sooner than me. I'm still living with it. And I'm trying to take away from what you said, because it's so good. What you said just resonated with me so deep. I'm in the same situation with you. I have a biological father, and I have a father that adopted me, and we are going through some stuff right now, just peeling back that onion that's been not peeled back for a long time. So I feel you, and I'm glad that you got through that. And I'm sure that there's some of us out there that are watching it, but
so let's take a turn. Let's take a turn. Yeah. You talked about earlier about Gigi and Ken McCumber.
I did. Thank you for bringing that back.
Let's go into that before we go Joe Rogan experience and be here for 3 hours.
I want to bring this back into there we go, Gigi Mitako. So last week we had a great guest, Gigi Mitako. She's going through a transition of just from career to whatever chapter God's going to put in front of her for next. But she reached out to me the other day, and past episodes, we also had a different guest on here, Ken McCumber. Some great stuff there. So if you haven't seen any of those episodes, not only do we want you to watch this episode today, but there were some really good ones in the archives that I think that you should go back. Obviously, some common threads of helping us get better, but I wanted to read this to you. So it says, "Hi there. Wanted you to know that Ken McCumber reached out to me after listening to the podcast to see if he could help connect me to his network. And what Gigi did is there's some avenues that she can help people in transition, people coming in there, people finding purpose in what they're doing. I just think that's super cool because we started this podcast on a conversation of walking up on 75 hard and second workouts and stuff like this. We've had different guests on there. Every single person that we've on here, we've had creative business relationships with Inlight Hyperbarics from Vancouver, with Edna and Caitlin.
Yeah.
We've had Joe Daniels, who is now again coaching over in Europe with football, spreading his wisdom, his knowledge, his caring, his love over in Europe, teaching young men to come up through the football ranks. Now we have two guests connecting and trying to help each other out and to find their purpose or enhance what their purpose is. That's the point of this podcast. This is never to tell you what to do, but this is building a community to help other communities become better. And I absolutely love this text. I'm going to save this for a long time, but one conversation that lasted about 45 minutes possibly created an eternal relationship, much longer than we will be here on Earth. So I just thought that was pretty awesome. So Ken McCumber, thank you. Gigi Matako, thank you. We appreciate you guys being on here and supporting us. And we love that connection was made. And we all know who did it. So enjoy that moment.
Yep.
Yeah. Super cool, man.
Yeah.
Who would have thought that two old guys can make a difference, right? Sitting behind a mic with some cool headphones and just throwing one starfish at a time.
Yep.
And that's all we did.
One dart at a time.
One dart at a time.
Hit the target. Yep.
So any final words for you, brother?
Reach out to us if you're struggling with any of these concepts we talked about today. If you need tools, if you just need somebody to talk to, it does make a damn difference to me and to other people. I mean, clearly we've experienced each other in this last conversation with Gigi and Ken making a damn difference in each other's life. And I say it, it's a catchphrase. I know it's something that I like to use for myself, but when you are making a damn difference, sit in it for a minute and celebrate that too. So just don't sit in the bad, sit in the good. And go make a damn difference.
Yeah. So good. Love these things, man. We appreciate you guys being a part of this podcast as it continues to grow. Don't forget, share that show. Again, what we talked about today, just to recap into it, is like a lack of forgiveness is going to rob you of victory.
Amen.
Sit in that for a little bit. I'm going through it. Brent's going through it. Everyone's going through it.
Yep.
And the quicker that we can forgive and get grace, the sooner that we'll get the grace that we need as well. So that's it for this week, guys. We love you. We just so incredibly grateful for all of you guys. But until we see each other next week, stay safe. Most of all, God bless. Take care, guys. Bye.